It's week 3. We've got another action-packed episode after a road trip to Canton. Tune in for some highlights from Cedartown and Sequoyah in this latest edition of the Polk Sports Wire Scoreboard Show. Whether you love Rockmart, Cedartown, or some other area team, we're keeping track of who you want to see. Highlights, area scores, and more right here on this week's episode of the Polk Sports Wire Scoreboard Show. Chiefs won the toss and took the opening kickoff, which got them started in decent field position. First play of the game, and Taji Neal looks to set the tone with an early pickoff play. Bulldogs ball in Cedartown's opening play under center. The handoff goes to Neal, who gets upfield for several yards. Cedartown ultimately settled for a field goal, takes the 3-0 lead after eating some clock in the first. Now we get to the portion of the video that is going to start getting painful for Bulldog fans. Fumbles were a big problem all night for both teams. Taji Neal right on top of scooping this one up for the Bulldogs in the second quarter. This one was down by contact, but the Bulldogs almost lost yet another one on this play. They lost one on their third quarter opening drive as well. Bulldogs defense kept the squad in the game throughout, even though they were up through much of the second quarter and half. The offense still struggled. This blown call on what should have been a safety didn't help matters much. Cedartown got the short end of the ref's decision all night. Sequoyah got a fourth quarter score to put them up 14-10 as time was running out for Cedartown. They tried a trick play with Neal that went awry, and the Bulldogs almost lost the ball on another fumble instead of a turnover on downs. Chiefs take a knee to close this one out, win at home 14-10. Cedartown drops to 1-2 with the road losses back-to-back, but they don't have time to fret over it. They've got Calhoun coming up this Friday night, and it'll be here before you know it. Rockmart had off this week, so we're going to get right into more scores here in just a moment after a word from this Polk Sports Wire Scoreboard Show sponsor. This episode of the Scoreboard Show is brought to you by us. Make sure to sign up for a monthly, 3-month, 6-month, or 1-year pass to watch full weekly highlight reels that include a lot of big plays you don't get to see on the Scoreboard Show. It's only $4.99 to sign up monthly, or for slightly longer limited time, $9.99 for 3 months, $19.99 for 6 months, and $48.99 for a 1-year pass. That's only available through the end of September 10th when the fair ends, so get yourselves onto the link in the description and join up. Your subscriptions are being used to help fund trips to places like Canton to bring you the big plays from the sidelines. Thanks so much for those who sign up to access content on PolkSportsWire.com. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming here on the Scoreboard Show. Okay, sports fans, since we were with the Bulldogs this week on the road, we're going to look at how the rest of Region 7-4A went before we get into the rest of the scores. After last week's upset win, the Phoenix looked to rise up, taking on the Catamounts. Sonoraville at Dalton, this one could be a preview for Rockmart next week. Dalton wins big 50-14. Next up, Heritage took on Catoosa area foe Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe. Generals squeaked out a touchdown win 35-28 over the Warriors. Hampton at Central Carroll, they win big at home 42-7. The Lions could be a dangerous matchup when region play begins for the Bulldogs later this month. Northwest Whitfield took on Ringgold. Tigers and Bears, oh my. Bruins drop a close one to the Tigers on the road 21-17. Southeast Whitfield at Gordon Lee. Raiders are back to being the Raiders. Gordon Lee wins big 44-16. Moving down into 7AA, Model Blue Devils opened their season last week against Pepperell. This week they faced Woodland. Blue Devils won by a closer score than expected, 27-21. Watch out for the Wildcats this year. The Ridgeland Panthers traveled to North Murray, and this one turned into mayhem in the mountains. North Murray 63, Ridgeland 35. Murray County faced off against Gilmer. Indians moved to 0-23 after a 35-7 loss. No surprises there. Gordon Central at Coosa. Two teams who needed a big win. Eagles take it 33-6. Fannin at Pickens. Rebels have a fight with the Dragons, but they got slayed. Fannin wins 52-28. Here's some more area matchups of note. Bremen at Bowden. Which Devils won this one? Red Devils were the state champs who went 0-2 to start the season. They bounced back with a 42-16 win over the Blue Devils. Darlington at Christian Heritage. Tigers' blip on the season against Sonoraville seems to be that thus far after a 39-7 win over Christian Heritage. Allatoona at Cartersville. The lake is under a hurricane warning. The Canes win in a shutout 37-0. Creekview at Calhoun. Jackets have Cedartown at the dock, and they'll be cruising in at 2-1 after a 28-14 victory over Creekview. Rabun County at Adairsville. Tigers drop one 35-20 at home. Jordan at Mount Zion Carroll. Eagles win big 43-6. Temple at Chattooga. Tigers trounce the Tribe 43-21. North Sand Mountain over in Alabama at Dade County here in Georgia. The Wolverines get their first win of the year, 48-6. Villa Rica at Northgate. Wildcats squeeze one out in a 24-23 win. North Paulding at Kennesaw Mountain. Wolfpack win out 28-13, move to 3-0 on the season. Hiram at East Paulding. Hornets have a tangle with a local foe. This one stung bad. Hiram 52, East Paulding 49. Both teams scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter for Hiram to move to 3-0 on the season. Hiram is having the best start since 2010 when they went 4-0 in the opening weeks of the regular season. Paulding at Harrelson. Patriots had a hard start to the year, and that pain continues as they fell 38-7 to Harrison. They are now 0-3. Carrollton at Rome to wrap things up. This was a game of the week in the area and around the state. Trojans and Wolves battle it out, and the squad from West Georgia beats our boys from the Seven Hills. Trojans 33, Wolves 13. Okay, sports fans, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Polk Sports Wire Scoreboard Show. I'm Kevin, the editor. Tune in next week. We will have more highlights from the sidelines of Dalton at Rockmart and more scores to share with you from around the area. Additionally, don't forget to go find more local sports coverage at polksportswire.com. We'll be at all kinds of games here over the next few weeks. We got the fair coming up this week. That's going to limit coverage a little bit. But either way, we'll see you from the sidelines in the next one.